Welcome back, everyone. Okay, let's dive right into this. If you are a newly hired accounts receivable associate, you really need to consider yourself a financial detective. Your core mission? Tracking down missing healthcare funds and making sure that every single dollar earned is actually a dollar collected. Today, we're cracking open part 3 of our training explainer: payment modes, EOB breakdown, and payment posting. Basically, we're going to give you the exact magnifying glass you need to solve these billing mysteries. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be covering modes of claim payment, the anatomy of an EOB, paid scenarios and verification, handling unposted payments, standard CALLER notes, and then we'll finish up with a quick knowledge check. Let's get to work.
Section 1. Modes of claim payment. The motive.
Now, in any good investigation, you absolutely need to understand how your target moves, right? For us, that target is the money. We need to know the fundamental ways payers actually transfer those funds to healthcare providers. And what's really interesting about this is just how simple it is at its core. There are really 3 primary vehicles for reimbursement. You've got your traditional paper check, electronic funds transfer, or EFT, and credit card payments. Knowing exactly which vehicle the payer used is your very first clue when a claim is marked as paid on their end, but the money just hasn't shown up in your billing system yet.
Section 2. Anatomy of an EOB. The clues. So if the payment mode is the vehicle, the explanation of benefits, the EOB, or electronic remittance advice, well, that's your map. This is where the payer leaves literally all the critical financial clues. Take a look at this standard payer EOB breakdown. Notice that line-by-line detail right in the center? Every single time a claim is processed, the payer generates this breakdown, telling you exactly what was billed, what was allowed, what was adjusted, and what was ultimately paid. Listen, if you can read this map, you can solve the case.
Okay, let's break down the core definitions you're going to pull from that EOB. First up is the billed amount. Pretty straightforward, that's just the initial total charge the provider submitted for the service. But the really critical baseline here, that's the allowed amount. This is the absolute maximum amount the payer has contractually agreed to cover for that specific service. And spoiler alert, it is almost always lower than the billed amount.
So the crucial thing to understand here is the difference between what's allowed and what actually hits your bank account. The paid amount is the actual tangible cash dispersed to the provider. The difference between that billed amount and the allowed amount, that usually falls under the code CO45. This represents the contractual adjustment. It's a mandatory write-off. The provider already agreed to this specific rate when they signed a contract with the payer, which means no, you absolutely cannot bill the patient for this CO45 amount.
But wait, what about the portion the patient does owe? That's where PR, or patient responsibility codes, come into play. You'll see PR1, which means the amount was applied to the patient's annual deductible. Then there's PR2, indicating coinsurance, that percentage of the allowed amount the patient shares. And finally, PR3, which is just a flat fee copay. As an AR associate, you have to identify these codes immediately so you know exactly why the payer didn't pay the full allowed amount and exactly what responsibility falls to the patient.
Section 3. Paid scenarios and verification. The interrogation.
When you check a payer portal or you call a rep and they casually tell you, "Oh, the claim processed and paid," your job is not over. Actually, scratch that. It is just beginning. The interrogation phase starts right now. You have to extract precise, exact parameters to verify that payment. Seriously, do not let that payer rep off the phone without running through this exact checklist. Number 1, get the check or EFT number. 2, ask, was this a single check just for this patient or a bulk check covering multiple claims? 3, what was the exact check issue date? 4, has it been cashed, and if so, what was the encashment date? And 5, this one is huge. Verify the exact pay-to address they have on file to make sure a paper check didn't accidentally get mailed to some old office location.
Section 4. Handling unposted payments, the missing person.
Now let's see how all this builds into our workflow for unposted payments. This is literally the classic missing person scenario in medical billing. The insurance company swears up and down they paid it, but your billing system is showing a big zero balance with no payment posted. This workflow matrix right here, it's your new best friend. Your action entirely depends on the time frame of the check's issue date. If the payer tells you the check was issued less than 30 days ago, well, you generally wait. It might still be in the mail or just pending internal posting. You can definitely request the EOB via fax in the meantime, though. But if that check was issued more than 30 days ago, it is time to escalate. You must request a formal check tracer or a copy of the canceled check from the payer to prove exactly who cashed it and when.
Section 5. Standard CALLER Note Template. The Police Report.
Look, if you do all this amazing investigative work, but then fail to document it clearly in the billing system, it's honestly as if it never happened. Another associate is just going to have to repeat your exact same work tomorrow. This template guarantees you never miss a detail. You log the date of service and claim number. In your action line, note exactly who you called and the specific rep you spoke with. State the status, break down those financials we talked about, allowed, Co-45, and PR, and list the strict payment parameters we just ran through. Finally, confirm the address, state your next steps, and always get a call reference number. Standardizing your notes this way is what makes you a highly effective AR professional.
Section 6, Knowledge Check, the Detective's Exam.
All right, before you hit the floor and start working real claims, let's make sure these core concepts are totally locked in. I'm going to give you 3 quick questions based on what we've just covered. Question 1. Think back to the very beginning. Which primary method is not used by payers to reimburse healthcare providers? Is it A, EFT, B, paper check, C, credit card, or D, cash? Take a second and lock in your answer.
Moving right along to question 2 regarding our EOB map, what does the code CO45 represent on an explanation of benefits? Is it A, deductible, B, copay, C, contractual adjustment, or D, coinsurance?
And finally, question 3, testing our workflow. If a payer rep tells you a check was issued 45 days ago, but you've verified it is entirely unposted in your system, what is your immediate next step? A, write it off. B, request a check tracer. C, bill a patient. Or D, wait 15 more days. Okay, let's see how you did. For question 1, the answer is D, cash. As fun as it sounds, insurance companies do not mail briefcases full of cash to providers. For question 2, CO45 is C, that mandatory contractual adjustment we talked about. And for question 3, because the check is over 30 days old, the answer is B, you must immediately request a check tracer. Huge congratulations to those of you who got a perfect score.
Understanding how this money moves, knowing how to really read an EOB, and being able to track down unposted payments, these are the foundational skills that are going to make you an absolute lifesaver to the financial health of any medical practice. Every unresolved claim you look at isn't just a number in some system. It's a vital resource that keeps healthcare facilities running and able to actually treat patients. Your detective work matters. But I want you to ask yourself, if you miss a single clue on tomorrow's EOB, how much revenue will just vanish from your facility without a trace? Share and subscribe for free courses on Decode Healthcare with Harshal. Keep learning, keep investigating, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.